Hi guys, it's Kamil here and I'm coming to you with a review of The Master by Colm Toibin. This book was published in 2004, was shortlisted for Man Booker Prize and is one of the most well-known and highly prized books by Irish writer Colm Toibin. The writer that you might know from The Testament of Mary or Brooklyn, and The Master, that is considered to be his masterpiece. The Master is a fictionalized account of Henry James' life, one of the most important figures in English literature, but Colm Toibin does something that is not the usual fictionalized biographic construction. He starts from 1895 and finishes in 1899. Why 1895? Because he decides to start all of the story of Henry James from his fiasco, from Guy Domville fiasco in London, the play that Henry James showed in London and was totally badly received. Henry James goes to Ireland, and this is how we start to learn about the James himself. What Colm Toibin does here brilliantly is the psychological portrait of Henry James. And this is a portrait of a man that is very private, very self-possessed, a man that keeps things and his personal life to himself. A man also that is, if not indifferent, very often oblivious to people around him and the feelings that those have. The thing that I like the most in this book is the fact that even though those 4 years are being showcased, we learn about the whole life of Henry James because we go back in time to his childhood. All pivotal elements of Henry James' life are here in this book. And through them, not through the description, but through them we learn about Henry James and the man that he was in the eyes and the fictionalized vision of Colm Toibin, obviously. But Colm Toibin based this portrait on letters that Henry James sent to various people. So we learn about him through those pivotal elements of Henry James' life. And we see a man that is avoiding conflicts every time he can, a man that is using the world around him as an inspiration for his works, a man that is working towards becoming one of the most important figures in English literature, but the man that very often is, as I already said, oblivious and not feeling responsible for the action and lives of people around him, his family itself. So we learn about the life of his sister Alice. She is dying in London and Henry James has very little contact with her. We learn about his very dominant brother William that Henry James has not the best relations with. We learn about his relation with fellow writer Constance Wilson, a woman that was in love with him. There is a great moment when Oscar Wilde's trial is being depicted here in this book, and Oscar Wilde is here somehow an antitype for Henry James, because this is a person that is larger than life and fan terrible of that intellectual time of that age. While Henry James, when hearing about the trial itself and the fact that there is a list of people that might have used the services of local rent boys, thinks about the scandal and the repercussion that scandal might have on Oscar Wilde's family. He's not thinking about Oscar Wilde and the life he had and the fact that there is lots of characteristics, not only the fact that they are both writers, but also the fact that they are both gay men. He doesn't really think about those things. What's also interesting is that this book is far from scandalization of Henry James' life, even though we are pretty much sure that Henry James was gay and was interested in guys rather than women. There are letters that he written to Henrik Andersen, the Norwegian American sculptor, but Colm Toibin only depicts, give us hints about Henry James' feelings towards men rather than showcasing it in a full passionate manner. And this book is kind of mimicking this private life. So what Colm Toibin succeeds in is not only the fact that this book feels very quiet, very low-key, very private, but also, from what I've learned, he also mimics Henry James' style. I haven't read any book by Henry James so far, and I kind of am happy about it now. Now, if I pick up the Portrait of a Lady, if I pick up the Ambassadors, if I pick anything by Henry James, I will remember which elements are the ones that he used from his life to write those books, which I believe is very interesting. I would definitely recommend this book to everybody that is interested in psychological portraits of characters, that is interested in Henry James himself. But please bear in mind that this book is a quiet one, focused on a person. One might ask, why to write about Henry James if you could have written about Oscar Wilde? And if you would rather read about Oscar Wilde instead of anybody of Henry James' manner, this might not be the book for you. But if you are interested in psychological analysis, slow-paced books, very interesting, very skillfully portraying the person that is the subject of a book, The Master by Colm Toibin is definitely a book for you. Okay guys, that's it. Tell me if you read this book. Tell me what did you think about it, if you read it. Tell me if you read any other books by Colm Toibin, that is one of my favorite living writers. And I see you soon, talk to you soon in the other video. Okay guys, that's it. Have a great week. Bye bye.